Welcome back to Mama Juice, where the bad moms come for the juice. My name is Karina.
And I'm Sandra, and today we are going to talk about our backgrounds culturally and how we feel it has affected our parenting style.
Yeah. I know it's a little different right now. We're doing this Zoom meeting. We're trying it out. So bear with us if we sound a little funky and
Yeah.
we're
A
trying
little
this out.
funky. I swear I look like a zombie.
You do not, girl. I feel like you look good. Tell
Yeah.
us where you were born, where you were raised, and who raised you.
Who raised? Who is responsible for this happening? Okay,
Right?
so
Okay.
I was born and raised right here in Mesa, Arizona. Lie. I was born in a Chandler hospital, but I've always lived in Mesa.
So raised in
Um,
Mesa. Mesa girl.
yeah, like when my mom brought me home from the hospital, she took me to an apartment complex in Mesa that's just down the road from here. So this is like my hood. Okay,
Right.
this like little square area is like if you're not from a state like Arizona, we live on a grid. So
Yes.
all our streets are perfectly set like this, which is cool, but
I love it.
yeah, it's just so random because growing up I didn't know that was different other places.
Oh, girl, I lived in Utah for maybe 3 months, and the streets are just so, they're just everywhere.
Yeah.
They're in curves, and, you got hills, and
Mm-hmm.
here it's just
Straight shot, no matter where you're from.
straight. You're good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my parents are from Arizona. We're so boring. Like, we are just the most boring people. So, my parents were born and raised in Arizona. My mom's side of the family, I keep getting these like mixed stories about where everybody's from. But from my understanding, that side of the family, at least her mom's side,
Mm-hmm.
they were living in Mexico, but when Arizona became the United States, they just never left.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't necessarily immigrate here, we just stayed here.
Yeah, I mean, I get it because it became
Yeah,
Arizona, right?
right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what they say. And then, but her dad's family, my mom's dad's family, is all in Mexico. So even
Okay.
her parents
So,
are,
what part of Mexico are we talking about? Like Sonora?
I feel like that's true.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's what Patricia said. I think it was
Yeah.
San Luis. I think that's what, from what I heard, I think it was. If
That
we're
sounds
talking,
familiar.
if we're talking about your mom, right? Like your mom's side of the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yes. And then don't you have some Panamanian in you as well?
You know, that's the rumors. So they say that, and I don't believe it anymore.
No.
No,
Well,
girl,
I kind of do.
I did that 23 and Me where, you spit in the tube.
Yeah.
No
Really do a DNA.
Panamanian. None.
No.
Not a drop. And so
That's
the
crazy.
rumor is, or the story is, I should say, is
Mm-hmm.
that my great grandmother, yeah, so my mom's grandmother,
Yeah.
she was royalty in Panama. And they say
Okay.
that she was kidnapped. They burned off her fingerprints. They brought her to the United States. And this is where she ended up. And then obviously she had like 13 kids or something.
Well, maybe that's why, because the fingerprints were burnt off.
Well, no, because your DNA is your blood.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
that's like, you cannot get rid of that. That's like the one thing that is just always there.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I don't know. I'll have to pull it up right now and see what it says. I don't remember any Panamanian being in there.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I would still, I would show it off. I think that's pretty cool.
If it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad's side,
Mm-hmm.
I know that his mom was from New Mexico.
Okay.
I believe she was born there. I don't know if she was born in Mexico or if she was born in New Mexico. And then
Okay.
my dad's dad was from Chihuahua, Mexico.
Woo woo!
Is that where you're from?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so we could be related. No.
Right? So basically you come from like a family of Chicanos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
it's just all based on, they have that Hispanic in them, but raised in the United States.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, that's what the definition of Chicano is, right?
Right. It's a Mexican American.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm like, on my dad's side, you know, I'm like second generation here.
Right.
On my mom's side, I'm like fourth. So that's like really, you know.
Okay. It's gonna sound like a dumb question, but I've never really understood the generation part. So I feel like I'm first generation, but the thing is, I wasn't born here. So would my kids be first generation then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So then they're first generation. I'm just an immigrant.
Well, don't say just an immigrant.
Well, not just an immigrant, but I mean, I'm an immigrant, right?
Yes.
So it's,
yes. So okay. First generation just means the first generation in your family line to be born in the United States.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, I get you. Okay, so then my brothers would be first generation. They were born here. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, makes sense. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. The mentality is completely different than from you being actually born in Mexico and raised in Mexico, you know? Like, for example, like my parents, both of my parents were born and raised in Mexico, Chihuahua, in this little small town, Nuevo Casas Grandes, Chihuahua, which is like 2 hours away from Juarez. They weren't really exposed to anything besides what they knew, you know, like their little town. And my dad owned a restaurant actually in Mexico, and I still remember it to this day, girl, because you know, I was like 3 years old, maybe about Joshua's age, and I actually would help my dad serve food. So I was kind of like a small little waitress.
Yeah.
You know, like the different mentalities are so, like, they're just different because they weren't in the 20s.
Tell us, start from the beginning for yourself.
Oh, so for myself, okay, so I was born in Mexico as well, in Chihuahua. I didn't come to the U.S. until I was actually going to be almost 5, because we came, I think it was like either the ends of October or the beginnings of November, and my birthday is like November 3rd, so I only had almost a couple of days to turn 5. And I came to Mexico. I mean, we came to the U.S. and we originally stayed in East Mesa. And we lived there for maybe 2 years or so, and then we moved into north of Mesa, and we stayed here like pretty much all our lives, except for that one time that we did go to Utah, but that was because of that whole SB 1070 BS that was going on. My parents got scared, and we kind of like ran off and then came back. But besides that, like, we've just been here, you know, in Mesa. So my parents come from a very different culture mindset, I could say, because when they came with fear. You know, I think that's what played a lot of the way they raised us here. They raised us with fear, but I totally understand. I mean, we were illegal, we weren't allowed here, and so many things we weren't allowed to do, so we kind of had to be in the shadows, you know. So
were your parents' families were all from that same town? Like, they kind of just were always there?
Yeah, all my family is from that same town.
Do you know, like, what led your family to immigrate here? How did you immigrate here? Like, what was that process like? Because you came illegally, so...
Well, I came legally, you can say legally, but stayed here and then just turned into an illegal.
So you were one of those families that came on a visa and just never went back. Okay.
Yes.
Which is very common.
Very, very common. So basically, before my dad even made the choice to come to the U.S., We used to come back and forth because we had family over in Denver, Colorado, and we used to visit. And then after that, well, one of my mom's sisters immigrated to, well, she decided to just stay here in Arizona because she also came with the visa, and then she just decided to stay. And then my family, little by little, started coming over, you know?
And all the same way, right? Everybody did it on a visa.
For the most part. For the most part.
So Trump's wall would not have kept you out.
No. I don't have that many family here. Like, to be honest, it's not like, well, if I have my whole family here, it's only a couple aunts and uncles that I do have from in here. And I can say it's like half and half. So half came here illegally and the other half came here with a visa.
Okay.
So then when my aunts started coming over and just decided to stay, they started, you know, talking to my mom and trying to like convince my dad to just come over here. You know, it was a lot better than just, you know, Mexico, and then just the crime was just going up with all these, you know, narcos and all of this drug war that was going on. Girl, it was crazy because we were going to school there. We had our lives in Mexico, and all of a sudden I remember my dad one day, he's like, we're leaving tomorrow, we're done. Like, we were little, we didn't really understand. He sold his restaurant, we sold our house, and we immigrated, you know. And 4 years old, not really knowing a thing, I went to school not knowing English. I still remember my kindergarten teacher, and I still remember till this day how it felt not understanding one word of English. Yes. There's this little kid, I remember, he was a little white boy. His name is Jacob, and he used to help me a lot, girl. Like, he helped me a lot. And when I was in first grade, that's when I started like progressively like learning English. And I remember that I used to bleed. I don't know if this ever happened to you. I used to bleed from just the temperature, like during the summer, like when it would get super hot, like I would just have random nosebleeds. I don't know if
I've heard of that, but I didn't really have to deal with it a whole lot.
Okay. Well, that would happen to me every single summer. That happened to me until I was like in high school. And I remember that first time that I did get that nosebleed, and I kind of spoke English just a little bit. So I went to the nurse's office because I was just like gushing blood. And the nurse was like, "What's going on?" And she's like, why is your nose bleeding?" And I told her, I was like, "It's because the sun." I was like, "It's because the sun." I was trying to say that it's because, like, you know, it's hot out, and for some reason I bleed. And I remember that clearly. I would just say, "It's because of the sun." And and they kind of understood. Yeah. They were like, "Okay, that's fine. We'll call your mom," you know?
Yeah.
And I went to Sauk Elementary. I don't know if you heard of Sauk Elementary. It's like down on Power, and I think it's like down on Power Road and Brown. And all there was white people. Like, there was rarely any Mexicans around there.
Yeah, so, East Mesa, I feel like there's still not a lot of
Hispanics. No, there's a lot more than there was when I got here in 1998. So I went to school I started school in like 2000 or 1999. No, 2000. I started school in 2000. So in 2000, it was still pretty.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of Mexicans at this point, you know. And when we came, like, they were just, like I said, they had that kind of like that fear mentality of like, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, and blah, 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 because they didn't want to get in trouble, and they didn't want us to get in trouble, because then at that point they would get in trouble, and we were limited to so many things, girl. I didn't start driving till I was like 23, I believe.
Holy cow! Like,
Yeah,
what was
like
that?
I
Like
did
2 years
not,
ago?
like 2 years ago. Yes, and they had this thing of not letting us wear makeup. I'm sure you've heard of it though from, I don't know if you've heard of it from like friends that you know. They didn't allow us to wear makeup until we were 15, until
Well,
we
that's
hit
how,
that.
like my mom's always been very, like, very relaxed about that kind of stuff. But like my
Hmm.
girl cousins, that's how they were raised. They had a lot of restrictions as far as
From what side?
from my mom's side.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So the two
Really? Yeah.
girls, the two
Yeah.
cousins that we have, yeah,
Yeah.
they couldn't wear makeup until a certain age. They couldn't date till a certain age. They
But
always
I
had,
don't, I think she, it's just that she's a little more strict on that side. I would
yeah,
think, you
yeah.
know?
And my mom's just always been like,
All
all
right,
right, if
cool.
you want to do that, do it. So, but my mom
Yeah.
was always the rebel in her family. Her mom raised them like that.
Hmm.
My mom was the one that was like, no, I'm
I
not going
am
to.
not doing that.
Yeah, she was like the one that would always like hide to do stuff, and like she was a bad kid. And then so she kind of let all that like really really strict stuff go.
I believe that, like, in our parents' generation, either you continued the same form of discipline that their parents would do to them, or you were the totally opposite where, you know
Yeah.
what, our parents were super, strict with us. I'm not going to be like that with my children,
Yeah.
because my parents continued that same role as their parents. They gave no they gave no fucks, girl. They were like, no, you are not doing this. You're not going out. You are not spending the night at anybody's house. You're not
That's how
going
my cousins
to.
were.
Really? That's
Yeah, even
crazy.
like our house being family, it was like
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
they could not spend the night. It was just like they ran a very tight ship. Whereas my mom's like, yeah, bring anybody you want over.
Like, come over.
Party at our house. So
Yeah.
that's exactly how they were.
And now, as you being a mom, though, is there anything that you would change parenting wise with your kids?
Yeah.
Coming from where you came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Mom, I know you listen to these when you can figure out how, so I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying what I would do.
Well, my mom doesn't listen to these, so okay, I can say
Right?
it.
No, like, I think everybody just does the best that they can.
I
And
agree.
and then we learn from their mistakes, and our kids will learn from our mistakes.
Totally, yeah.
And so I feel like one thing I'm going to try to do, which I've already feel like I've followed in her footsteps, but I don't want to, is like, for example, she would ground us, and then she would just like forget that she grounded us,
Mm-hmm.
or like choose to forget. I don't know, but it was like we could just slowly start doing,
Oh, okay, okay, I get what you're saying. Like,
and then it
you
was
you
like
were
it never
taking
happened.
her serious.
Yeah, because she never stuck to her boundaries. So she
Yeah,
would set a
no, I
boundary.
agree.
Like, this
Yeah.
is not acceptable. You are grounded. And then
Right.
it was like, you're grounded for a week. And then, like, 2 days later, we'd be out doing whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
So, with
Mm-hmm.
my kids, I really want to work on setting those boundaries and keeping those boundaries. I feel like my mom did an okay job keeping like the line between parent and friendship, but I feel like she could have been a little bit more parent and a little less friendship. And
Yeah.
that too brings that like discipline aspect of
Mm-hmm.
it. So I guess with my kids, I just want to change. I don't want to be strict. Like, I want them
Mm-hmm.
to live a life and I want them to enjoy that life, but I want them to definitely know that their actions have consequences, because I don't feel like that was very strong in us growing up.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes, total sense. And that's why I think that that any choice that any parent does for their family it's acceptable, because if that works for you and that's the way that you want to parent, who are we to tell you not to do it, or that you're wrong? Because there's no right or wrong way to parent, as long as there's, those principles and morals. You're not just like, you know what, my kids can do whatever the hell they want.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, within reason, because there are people who,
within reason, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think I'm talking about caring parents that,
Okay.
truly care.
Parents who give a damn.
Yes.
Because my friend was just telling me, my friend has teenage daughters, and she was just telling me about problems she's having with one of them and a boy. And the boy was found at her daughter's window at 2-something in the morning. Well, his parents never even found out, because they didn't know, how do you not know your kid's missing? And that's just, from what she's heard from people, that's just what he does. Like, him and his sister just kind of do their own thing. And these are young kids. I think he's like 15.
Yeah, my parents used to check up on me like crazy at night, especially at that age, like make sure that I was in bed,
Yeah.
And that's
so what about you? What do you feel like you do different?
I'm gonna sound so bad, but I have a lot. I have so many, girl. Like, not because my parents are bad. Like, they're not bad parents. They did everything with so much love, and they tried their best, to make sure that the four of us went down the right path. And I appreciate them for that, because me knowing who I am now as an adult, if they wouldn't have restrained me the way that they restrained me, I think, girl, I would be some crazy girl right now. I'd probably be having like 4 kids from 4 different.
What? You would have been a hoe?
Yes.
Why?
Sounds so bad. No, it's not even just necessarily a hoe, but I'm that, like, deep in me, like, I'm wild. Like, I feel like deep, but so many things, like, from what, like, my parents did, that they instilled so much, like, fear, to where it created insecurities in myself. I can't let that out. You know what I'm saying? Girl. But if I listen, if I let this girl out,
I don't know where this came from, but one of my friends, she had like an old lady name for herself when she was drunk, and it was like her drunk alter ego. So we just all kind of started doing it. Mm-hmm. So my drunk alter ego was Mabel, and Maeve's was just wild. And so I just wonder, what is yours name, and what would she do?
Ooh.
I like it.
Then maybe one day we should have a girls' night.
Girl,
yeah, because
listen. All right, are you listening?
I'm listening. I'm all ears.
So, as we all know, I'm still nursing my boys, my twins.
Okay.
They're going to be 3 next month.
Okay.
On the 16th. But I have this weird thing where I'm like, you know what? I should at least go to the 28th, because that's when Jasmine was born. So that would be a full, to the date, 5 years of breastfeeding straight, no breaks. Mm-hmm. So that's my goal. After that day, those boys are getting cut off from their milkies. No more milkies.
No more milkies.
No more mama milkies. And probably
we're going to go out.
Well, probably like a few months after, so I can give them, like, time to adjust. I don't want them to be up all night from my mom. So once I give them time to adjust with that, then hell yeah, girl, we're going to go out.
Yes, I'm so down.
I wouldn't even know where to go these days. Everywhere I used to go closed down.
Well, you know what? Our best friend Google shall know.
Right? If you are listening or you are watching and you live in Arizona and you're young and hip, tell us where to go.
Tell us where all these old mamas to go.
They're going to be like, no, we don't want you in our place.
No, you know where I've been wanting to go, though? Is that cowboy, I know there's like a country bar somewhere. Which one? I have no clue. I've heard of it, though.
There's a lot, girl. We live in Arizona.
We'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll figure it
Denim
out.
and Diamonds?
I think so.
It's like way east.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's
I've never
do it.
been.
Never been, neither have I. But I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
the the wild side of getting drunk.
Wild side of Karina. Oh, we were talking about how your parents being strict, you feel like
it
kept you
helped.
on track.
Yes, it did. It definitely did. And I'm so grateful for that. And I tell them, you know what, Mom and Dad, like, I thank you for that. And I'm grateful now. I think that what I needed from them, less judgment and more understanding me, like, and kind of accepting my differences, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think with my kids, I honestly believe in the being strict. I kind of see myself being like that strict mom as they get older. Still don't believe my parents were wrong in not letting me spend the night over at a friend's house or like that. So I'm going to continue that. I just have so many things in my head that go in my head that I'm like, you know what? I'm protecting them. You know, I feel like I'm protecting them because especially nowadays, I don't know, like, maybe their family is. Maybe if they become friends with this person for 10 years and it's like, okay.
Well, at that point, they won't even want sleepovers. They'll be adults.
Well, you know what? Oh, well, by that time, it's like, all right, you know, you're an adult. You choose what you want to choose. But I don't know. So, I know that.
Jasmine has already stayed the night at a friend's house.
Uh-huh. How did that go?
It went really well. But, okay, the only reason I let it happen was because I've been friends with the little girl's mom since elementary school.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
20 some odd years we've known each other. Really sweet family, really sweet girl. I trust her 100%. And she lives out in Maricopa, so that's like 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
But they were staying at her mom's that just lives right here by Emerson, so just down the road.
Oh, nice.
And so it was like she was going to be close by, and she was sending me pictures and videos, and Jasmine just had a blast. So I think like you said, like, honestly, as you were talking, I was thinking about, like, Jasmine coming home and being like, oh, my friend Sally is having a sleepover and I want to go. And, like, when I thought of that, like, my stomach, like, sunk. And I'm like no. I don't know Sally. I don't know Sally's mom. My friend who I've known for 20 years, yeah, you can hang out with her kids, but, like, that's it. So I get it.
Yeah, so I think it's those boundaries, you know. I still have a little trouble even letting them letting them spend the night at my parents' or Jamie's parents' house. And that I'm trying to work on because I remember me wanting to spend time with my grandparents, and my parents were the same way. Like, it took a lot to let them, even with my grandparents. So I think that kind of has to do with my background. Yeah. So that I'm trying to change because I know that it's like, you know, it's their grandparents. Like, they should spend the night when they want to and, you know, make memories. They're here. They're not here for so long, you know.
Right. So, absolutely.
So that I'm trying to change. But anything else, it's like, no. And I believe in curfews. So they're going to have their curfews. And if they're not doing well, like, academically, then it's like, no, like, you need to earn your, you know, your freedom. Like, if you want freedom,
I even struggle with that, though.
Why?
Because, like, for example, math, it's not that I didn't apply myself. It was, like, my Everest. Like, I just could not do better than I was doing. So it's like, do you really punish a child because they just
no
good at it?
But see, like, this is why I like this homeschool method, because you're not labeling a child because of their grades. Like, it's not a label. It's like in what their interests are, in what you see that they're good at, you know? And obviously, like, they still have to do what they're not good at because that's just life. Like, we just kind of got to do what we don't like to do. But at the moment that I see that, you know, they're studying, they're working hard, they're doing something with their lives. Right. They're not just there, you know, sitting around playing games and not wanting to help out even like with chores or, you know, with responsibilities around the house and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. So if they're not doing what they should be doing, which is the responsibilities and, you know, going out and learning and working on what they need to be working on, it's like, have you really earned your freedom, you know?
Yeah. And, no, totally. That I get. I guess we're coming from two different places because you are doing the homeschool thing, and I don't know. I have. But
like for your side, for example, like you that, you know, you will probably send your kids out to like even like a charter school or more of
some
a
kind
like
of school,
some kind of school, like not a public school. You know, they're still based off kind of grades. But, you know, if you see that Jazz or the two boys are actually, like, trying hard and they're just not kind of getting the concept of math or writing but you see that they're trying. You see their effort. It's kind of like, okay, you know, like, I see your effort. Like, that's fine. But if you see that they're not even, like, taking it seriously and, you know, they're not even trying and they're not taking tutoring or things of that sort, then that's kind of where you're like, okay, like, no, responsibilities come first and then comes having fun.
So do you feel like you can already tell, like, for example, I feel like Luke is going to be my intellectual. Like, he's going to learning. He's going to be very smart. He's going to get really interested in something, and he's just going to work towards it. That's going to be Luke. I feel like Dominic might do great things in life, but if he does, it's going to be like something. I don't know, he's going to be an athlete or something.
Right.
He's going to struggle academically. He's going to be the class clown. His goal in life already is just to make everybody laugh. So, like, we were at urgent care one day, and the boys were sick, and he was doing something, and I'm, like, trying to, like, wrangle him in, and the whole waiting room was just cracking up. He was just loving it. That's just going to be him.
So he's the
class clown.
He likes the attention, the class clown, Yeah,
and he's very, like, agile already. Like, he was doing these, like, crazy, like, little moves at a soccer field. And Luke tried doing it. He was all goofy. So he's not going to be an athlete. I think Dom will be, like, an athlete. And then Jasmine's, like, her life is going to revolve around being social. Like, that's what she's going to just love, is anything.
Just like Mom.
Yeah, exactly. So do you feel like you have, like, an idea like that of your kids?
Oh, heck yeah, you know. For sure. Okay, so Jaime, my oldest, they're all smart. Like, I can give them that. They're all smart. Thing is, Jaime is more of he's kind of more lazy, and that lazy side when it comes down to sitting down and writing and reading. But you put him a song, he will dance for you all day. If you take him to, like, dancing, that's his thing. He loves to dance. So I think he's going to be more of a performer. Joanne is very, very smart, and he likes to do work, and he likes to do all that. But I think he's going to be my sports guy. He's going to be very, very athletic because he's rough, like really rough, even when he plays, as you were able to see.
As I know.
Right? So, I have to find something for him that's going to work where I'm taking all of that energy out because he needs it. So that's
going to be a contact sport for sure.
Yes, either football or wrestling or, I don't know, like jiu-jitsu, something of that sort, you know? And Joshua, I think Joshua is going to be my very intellectual person. Like,
He's gonna be a sweet boy.
yeah. Yeah, he's very, very sweet. But I think he's going to be more like, I think he's going to be like my doctor or he's going to go to college, I think.
I think he's gonna be like a social worker or a counselor. Because he's just like he's what, 3?
Yes.
And I just feel like anytime anything's going on, he's an empath, so he feels it. Like when other people are sad, he's sad.
He's like, why are you sad?
It's like he's so sweet.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think you can tell, and I think you go based off you discipline the way that each child needs to be disciplined, you know?
Well, and it goes back to what we've discussed before, you know, where we say how much of it is nature and how much of it is nurture. Because like
right?
you say your parents like suppress something in you.
Mm-hmm. I know I love to talk. I like to make friends and stuff, and they kind of just created those insecurities that I have troubles, even with this podcast. Like, it's a little difficult for me to come out of my shell because I'm nervous, you know, I'm shy, and this is not the real me. Even when I just get to know people, like I'll talk to them, but I still have that little shyness where, like, who they meet, if you meet me for the first time, like, that's not, like, the full me. It's just...
Girl, I know. I remember meeting you. And you
right?
were, like, sweet, quiet girl. I'm not saying you're
like,
not
just,
sweet. But, like
shy, you know?
Yeah, very shy. And then when, like we talked about before, it was probably when I had the boys and I was staying home and, you know, you would bring the kids over to play with Jasmine. Mm-hmm. And then, like, we opened up with each other.
Yeah.
So do you feel like I was ever like that? Like, kind of reserved?
Girl,
no.
Like
I've always just been like, it's me!
No, you walked in the room and it's like, let it shine.
You know what's funny is I never knew I was like that until recently.
Really?
Yeah.
So you never were aware of that?
No.
Oh.
And because, you know, I started to discover, like, people who don't like me.
Oh, really?
And I think it's just because, like, sometimes people don't want someone who's, like, so open and bold about what they say. That's kind of hard sometimes for people.
Yeah, and everybody has their cup of tea, you know? And some people don't like that green tea. Some people don't like that chamomile tea. Some people don't like that.
I love it all.
Peppermint tea. It's like, give me all. I like all teas.
I mix them all, literally. Like, what I'll do is I'll get, like, 3 tea bags. And the 3 you just named, like, the one I like right now that I drink at work, I drink pomegranate green tea, chamomile, peppermint, and sometimes I throw in a ginger lavender. And I mix it all together.
Does that hurt your stomach, girl? I know it hurts mine.
What?
Like it makes me. I gotta go.
No, it helps.
It regulates. I don't
know
it
helps because, like, I've been having a lot of, like, nausea and vomiting and stuff.
Oh,
you know?
And so it helps with that.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's nice to know. Yeah. I mean, I like all kinds of teas, but separate teas, you know, like in the morning I like my peppermint or my green tea, and then at night I like my chamomile tea because it relaxes me, and so I need them separate, but I like all kinds of teas, you know, like give them all.
If it's like nighttime, I'll just drink like chamomile tea.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe like lemongrass or something.
Ooh, I like lemongrass.
Yeah.
It's yummy.
I have a new obsession with teacups.
Ah, I saw them.
Yeah.
I'm
growing a collection. But
oh, we got sidetracked. But anyway,
rude girl. So So we're talking about school and growing up and stuff. And one thing that like was a challenge for me as a kid, and I still think I struggle with it as an adult, and it does influence my parenting, girl, because sometimes I'm like, especially with everything going on with the government
Right.
stuff, I'm like, I just hope people look at my kids and just think they're white. And that makes me feel, but at the same time, like, I'm starting to kind of like learn more Spanish, and I'm talking to them in Spanish because it's also bringing out like a pride in me. Do you see what I mean? Like, I want
because it's because
identify with it.
I feel like I feel for Mexican Americans, like for you Chicanos, because there's this saying that goes, you know, you're never gonna be white enough for people or Mexican enough for Mexicans.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
But I firmly believe this is like the same conversation that I was having with Jamie the other day. I can tell you right now that I'm not gonna say okay, never. It's been rare the times of my life that I have felt uncomfortable being around white people. Why? Because I have never seen myself more or less than them. And yes, I have experienced a little bit of discrimination here and there. I have experienced those things. But I have never, I don't know why, I've never let that get to me. I know that my English isn't perfect, and I know that there's times that I say things wrong. But I have never let that stop me, and I have never been embarrassed of it, and I have never felt that I've always felt on the same level as a white person, not more or less. You know what I mean? So to me, the experience that it's given me is to teach my children that, it's to teach them that you are in control of those emotions, that you should be confident enough to walk in any room of any color, of any race, and be like, this is who I am, and not allow what other people think of you and see of you bother you and let that get to you and control your confidence, you know? And I think that to me, it's very important to teach that to my children, because till this day, like, I can walk in a store full of, like, me being the only Mexican brown colored person there, and it's like I'm here, like, what? You know what I mean?
Girl, this is so off topic, kind of, but
Right.
I went to the new Food City that used to be the Safeway today.
Yes.
It was full of white people. I've never been in a Food City.
The one, which one?
Remember on Brown and like Mesa Drive?
Oh, so the one that was that used to be Bashes, you mean?
Bashes, yeah. So they changed it into Food City, right?
Right.
And I'm walking through it, and I've never felt so out of, like, not out of place, but I was very aware that this store was just full of white people. Because usually when you go to Food City,
like, okay, it's like full of Mexicans.
It's just everyone's Mexican, and you see like that one white person. But this one was the opposite. It was so funny. But I don't know, like, I didn't think that I had experienced a lot of prejudice or racism. Right. Like, I used to say that to people, and there's this girl that throws it in my face to this day because she thinks systemic racism is a myth. And so she's like, oh, you've even said yourself that you didn't experience a lot of it. I feel like what I did experience felt normal because it was common. And now as I'm an adult and I'm kind of combing through memories, I start coming up with these memories where I'm like, oh, people were racist towards me, and I didn't even realize it because it was just part of my normal life. But like I remember.
But even if they were, though, like, honestly, that's their problem, you know? It's like, yeah, you're being racist towards me, but I'm not going to allow those nasty words or, you know, indirects affect who I am or affect me, you know? Because I think everybody experiences racism at one point. Like, even white people, you know, like, I think that's just in human nature to be not racist. Like, for example, like I can say, like, us Hispanics, sad to say it's not right, but especially like in like the older generations, that they say, like, black people are thieves, because especially out in the hood. Like, that's what I've heard. And it's kind of like, are all black people thieves? No, they're not. But okay, baby. But that's just what we think, and we do it too. So who are we to be like, feel all offended over racism when we do it too? Like, it has to just stop overall.
Well, I guess what concerns me is stuff like for example, one time my mom and I were going to brunch.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Brunch, yes. We're going to brunch, okay?
Brunch.
You can't get more white than brunch. And so we're going to brunch in my Nissan Altima. It's not like we were in like some, crazy looking car or anything. Mm-hmm. And we get pulled over. And these cops, they were being so weird to us. And I'm like, what's going on? And they came up like we're going to kill them. And they're like, do you have guns in this car? And we're like, we're going to brunch. And they wanted to search my car for drugs and guns. What the fuck? I cannot think of any other reason other than the fact that we are two brown people. Like, that kind of stuff bothers me, Your husband and his brother, my cousins, they went to pick me up at work one time. Mm-hmm. And I'm at work, I'm working, and then all of a sudden they come up and they're like, oh my God, you guys, there's these two guys, Sandra, they're by your car. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if we should call the cops. I'm dead serious. These women were like shaking. Okay? I go look outside and I'm like, those are my cousins.
Jamie.
And it's just, they see two bald Mexicans and they just assume that they're up to no good. They were standing there talking in a parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff does bother me.
No, I agree, girl. I agree, but we, like, I feel like we do that too. And I'm talking about not necessarily me or you, but just in general, because what do we think of, like, especially like people who come from the hood, like, what do you think of a like white cop or a white person? Like, right away we judge them. There's this well, you don't, and I don't either. But there's this motivational speaker. His name is Eric Thomas. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he is black and he comes from the hood, and he just like bettered his life, and now he's a successful coach that's trying to help people out. And one day he had an experience at an airport where there was a white cop who just kept staring at him. And that guy, Eric Thomas, he was like, he kind of felt like, why is this cop looking at me like this? Like, he kind of felt like judged, And he's like, his hood side, came out of there. Like, he started already thinking, like, just because I'm black, he's already thinking this way of me. Or, he started having these judgments in his head of this cop. One moment, Joan. So then, like, maybe a couple minutes later, that white cop walks up to him and he tells him, "You're Eric Thomas." And Eric was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I am a fan. I've been listening to you for like years, and you bettered my life and all of this." And that Eric had to like kind of like put down his, his shield and like, wait, like, he's a fan of me, but right away, because he's staring at me, he's a white cop, I'm here thinking that he's staring at me down because I'm black. You know what I mean?
But that to me though isn't like racism. Mm-hmm. That is me saying that this man has experienced something in his life.
Yeah, well, because
that has made
his
him
background
insecure. Right. So then that is like a reaction to racism. So he's not being racist because the guy's white. He's reacting because he has had people be racist to him.
Yeah, no, I get it. he's trying to like protect himself.
Because I mean, if you've been in a situation before and it's turned bad, and you feel like you're getting in the situation again,
you're trying to protect yourself from it. You know? No, I get it.
Because of reasons like that, I have thought to myself, like, oh, at least, like, my kids, you know, they're half white, so maybe, like, cops won't assume they're in a gang, you know? Like, my brother, has tattoos, he's a big Mexican guy, and he said he had the first cop that ever did it pulled him over and said, who do you run with? Like, what? He's like, I don't really run ever. Like, I'm not really athletic. And he's like, no, who do you run with? And he's like, I don't know what you're saying to me.
Can you specify what you're trying to say?
Right. Like, can you like expand on that? Because I don't know what you mean by run. And he was like, which gang do you run with? And my brother's like, what?
Wait, what?
Like, he had no clue what he was talking about. Obviously, every time a cop said that to him after he knew. But
he understood.
No, it doesn't affect your life greatly or anything, but it's just like every single angle that you can protect your kids at, you want to. And so those are the things that, like, I think of from my experience. But then you have the other side of it for me. So then you have Mexican people who tell me that I'm not Mexican enough, that I act white. And I'm like, how do you act white? Like, you're basically, I feel like when people say that, they're putting down their own race. Because you're saying that I'm acting educated. Like, I speak well. So that to you is acting white.
You know, my one of my cousins, actually, she would say that to me and my sister because, like, me and her were one of, like, the few that actually, like, finished school and, you know, we wanted more out of life. And I can say a little bit more educated, like, school-wise. So she was, and it's, like, from the east side of Phoenix. And she would always tell that to me and my sister. She would say, you guys are so white girls. And she would kind of try to make fun of us. And it's like, girl, do you know, like, we were born in the same freaking place here, and you're calling me white? It's like, are you trying to say that I'm more educated than you? Because if that's what you're trying to say, then yeah, like, I am more educated than you are, you know? So
are you trying to say I'm more American than you? Because, like, that's, when it comes down to it, like, you don't act white, you act American. Because that's
and, like, for me, that I was born in Mexico, and I want to progress in life and succeed, I have to have a different mentality than what my, you know, than Mexicans, because I'm sorry, but they have this limited mentality, and I don't want that for myself, and I have to think different for me to achieve different things. So I am going to be looked as a traitor of my kind because I'm here hanging around with educated different people, and sad to say, most of them are American. You know, and now I'm looked at as a traitor. That's because
so interesting. I did not know that somebody like you who immigrated here young dealt with the same things I do because I'm a Chicana.
No,
you know? And so, like, I can't tell you how frustrating my life is when people are like, well, you're not a real Mexican. I'm like, that's literally not what my DNA says. Like, it says that I am full.
And it's like, to whose
standard?
To whose standard? Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's just us as humans. We're shitty humans, and we just love to, you know, judge and categorize people, label.
I love when older Mexican ladies say, why you don't speak Spanish?
Why don't you speak English?
And I say, because I'm American. Like, I was raised in America. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. You know, and even that, girl, like, we can go on another topic with that, but even that, when they say those things, it's kind of like, you know, we come to America to succeed, and we come into this foreign country that isn't our country. So we kind of have to speak their language to communicate. Yeah. We can't expect them to accommodate us. Like, we have to accommodate them in that sense, you know?
Yes, of course.
And it makes their life easier. Like, so much
From
easier.
an outside looking in, I feel like you have a really good grasp of your culture as a Mexican woman, but knowing that you are in America and you're raising your kids here. So how do you feel like you keep your culture alive within your kids, even though they're being raised very American? Because, you know, everybody around them has that American mentality. They're watching it on TV and stuff. So
Right.
how do you keep your Mexican culture alive? Because I feel like as somebody who, you know, I'm so far down the line in a lot of ways as far as people who are born in Mexico, I feel like a lot of that culture has gotten lost, and that makes me sad. And now that I do have kids, I am trying to pull what I can to try
To continue that culture.
yes, because I don't want it to be the end of it. You know, I don't want, especially because I went ahead and mixed my kids, so I don't want to like lose that culture completely.
Definitely. I honestly, I celebrate a lot of Mexico's holidays still. Like, for example, you know, El Día de la Independencia de Mexico. So I tell them, like, you know, this is Mexico's Independence Day. Or, for example, El Día del Niño, which is the Day of the Kid in April. I think April 30th. And, you know, I listen to a lot of Mexican music like that. I'm hardcore on that. So, and they sing it with me, and we sing
Okay.
it, and we do all of that. I also do my best to incorporate Spanish as much as possible. You know, I read them Spanish books, and I really personally don't know much about Mexico's history. I really don't remember that. But
That's
that's
okay.
something.
I don't know a lot about U.S. history. My mom's like, "Didn't you go to school?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry."
Yeah, so, but as far as like Mexican culture, I try to keep it, you know, we hardly do any like birthday parties, but birthday parties that we have done, I try to really incorporate that Mexican style, you know, a
Yeah.
piñata, and, you know, singing the dale, 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 no pierdas el tino. Like, I was just like, all those like little tiny things that,
Yeah.
or tamales for Christmas. Like, that's always
Yeah.
been like our tradition. Tamales, menudo, pozole,
Mm-hmm. To
like
me, see,
all
and
those
that's
things.
kind of something that I do appreciate, and I think your kids will,
Uh-huh.
because when I smell that, I
Don't
smell
you think?
Christmas. Like other people,
Yes.
like you smell pine cones. I don't know. You think Christmas. When I smell tamales and menudo, I think Christmas.
They smell eggnog, and it's like, it's
Right?
Christmas.
It's on.
Yeah. So we smell champurrado, we smell tamales, we smell menudo, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like, ooh, it's Christmas time. Because
Right.
in our reality, what other seasons do we actually make those foods? It's
My family doesn't. It's only during
exactly.
Christmas time.
It's only something. I'm literally about to start making my tamales, and I'm gonna be selling them because
Ooh, I'm
it's
gonna
what
be
you do.
buying some.
Ooh, girl, yes. You know, so it's all those little things that, little things matter. And as
Of
they get
course.
older, it can just be doing research on just the Mexican culture, just to kind of continue that alive. But
So
you
do
are
you,
Mexican enough, girl.
oh, thank you. No one's ever told me that.
Yes.
Do your kids, do they speak Spanish at all?
Girl, okay. So this is where I messed up as a parent, and like, I'm pretty disappointed in myself in that sense, because they don't really speak it, but they understand it. And that's my fault, because me and Jamie always speak English. And as far as like, you know, Ruben, which is my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and like you guys as a family, like, you guys speak more English than you do Spanish.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of more surrounded with Jamie's family than I am really like with my family, which is sad. I know. So they don't speak it fluently, but they understand it. And I'm working on that, further fluent. Just learn Spanish.
Do it. And they're still young. They're still sponges. You still have time, girl.
Oh, heck yeah, yes, definitely. Girl, I was 6 years old when I started learning English, so it's
There you
like,
go.
and look at me now. I know it's not perfect, but you
Neither is
understand
mine.
me, right?
It's my native language. But yeah, I mean, I've been digging deep into my brain and starting to talk to my kids more in Spanish.
Yay!
It's in there. Jose, your brother-in-law, he told me one time, we were talking because, you know, we were talking about his son learning Spanish, and he goes, you used to know Spanish. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you used to talk to Nana in Spanish. And I was like, I have no memory of that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but it's in there. So, like, I yell at my kids in Spanish a lot.
Well, that's good.
Jasmine knows how to count to 10. She just learned that, and she's really excited. So I teach them, you know, I teach her, like, that she's Mexican, and...
Yeah. No, and that's awesome, you know. The boys also, when they see the Mexican flag, they'll be like, oh, that's where Mom was born, like Mexico. So you know, at least they kind of recognize those things, and I'm trying to teach them too to be proud of where they come from, because being Mexican is awesome, and actually being born here in the U.S. is awesome too. Like, and embrace that and love that, and don't let anybody else tell you who you are or who you are not, because as long as you know who you are, anybody else can, like, go.
It's so hard when you're a kid. I feel like as far as the issues that I have from my childhood, that's one of them, is being told
there's
that
those insecurities and stuff.
Yeah,
because
I'm very insecure about that, you know, about how I act around people.
That's just people's labels, girl. Like, don't listen to those. People love to label people, and there's labels for everyone, and I dislike that. I don't agree with that, and we shouldn't allow that to happen, you know.
So I was pulling up my 23andMe. This is where we'll end it, is my DNA. So interesting. You know, as far as, like, Mexican culture goes, we're like a created race, right?
Right.
And I didn't realize this. Well, I knew it, but it didn't click. So I get my DNA results back, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not even Mexican, right? Because it says I am 43% East Asian and Native American. And I was like, what? And then it says I'm, like, Spanish, Portuguese, European, African, Nigerian, Egyptian, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even Mexican.
Like, whoa.
And then so I Google, because I know, you know, that I Google what is Mexican going to show up as in 23andMe in your DNA, and then it was, like, literally all of these. I was like, oh, I am Mexican.
But it's because we go back to their history. There were a lot of settlers that went to Mexico, and there was a lot of Asians, there was a lot of Europeans, you know, that moved from their country to ours. Like me, my great grandfather was European. He was from Spain, and I know that because, you know, my grandpa told that to my dad, and my dad passed it on. And their side of the family, they're all blonde with colored eyes. And my dad has green eyes, and he was little, he was blonde with green eyes. It's just that I wasn't blessed with those eyes, you know.
No.
I have a friend who's from Mexico too, and is, like, from Sinaloa, and she has Chinese in her because
I have a little bit of Chinese.
Yeah, see, so Mexicans are just multicultural.
Yeah, we're just a big old melting pot.
Seriously.
Yeah. So
okay.
The last thing we want to talk about is we are partnering with Wick Sisters Candles.
Yes.
And they're going to do a special for Mama Juice listeners. So if you go to their website, and we'll link that, and you put in the code BADMOMS, you get 15% off your order. So do that.
Oh, yay.
So cool. Yeah.
They are awesome. Go ahead, visit their page on Instagram. Can you repeat the name again, girl?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's because she's the one that dealt with them, so I'm kind of new into this. But
Yeah.
Can you repeat that again?
So their Instagram is actually going to be wick_sisters_candles. Wick Sisters Candles. Like I said, we'll link it all below. And so go there, order your candle, type in code BADMOMS and 15% off. We are also going to be doing a giveaway, so watch our Instagram for that. And it's going to be one winner is going to get a free candle.
Yay! Who wouldn't want a candle, especially during this season? I love it. Yes, so go ahead, check them out. Oh, it's the end. We've come to an end. This is a very interesting topic.
It was, and I feel like it kind of morphed a little bit, but it kept coming back. So that's good.
Yes. Yeah, so, go ahead and subscribe to Mama Juice and rate, because we depend on your ratings, guys. We really do, and we would really highly appreciate it if you did rate us. And, just stay tuned for another Mama Juice.
Mama Juice.
Mama Juice. For the bad moms, come for the juice. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.